Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I guess start off by saying happy Birthing Participants Day. I don't know what's the we have all these new phrases that we have to learn and gender neutral terms, but we know that's all baloney. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of you guys out there. Hopefully you're putting in the effort and making sure that you're changing lives and being part of your children's life. We did not get a live stream done last night. We usually do live streams Saturday evenings, and we just couldn't do it last night. I was hoping to, but the internet was just horribly slow. It kept kicking in and out. It was enough that you could get online and kind of post something online, but even that, it was just kind of in and out. But most certainly it wouldn't have been good enough to do a live stream, so I apologize for that. We are going to attempt to do one this afternoon at around 4 o'clock on our locals community. That's locals.com, and then you search for the Prepared Homestead, or you can just go to the link in the description below. It takes you there. I would strongly encourage all of you to go over there and sign up. You don't have to pay to be part of the community, but that is our home base, because and the reason why this is important is I will most definitely get suspended again from YouTube and very possibly completely kicked off the platform. That's what they have threatened me with, that I need to stop this because I had 3 suspensions in 1 year. And so when that day happens, the only place you're really going to find me is over on Locals. So you need to go to Locals, sign up. It's no different than signing up anywhere else. It's a free speech platform. I can talk about whatever I want to talk. My wife's on there. In fact, we just made an hour-long video. I believe it was Friday. Talking about all the stuff that they're putting into, and they have been putting into food and water and the air that's causing all of the men to just be big sissies. And we get into other things too, but I would strongly encourage you to go over there and sign up. And there is a member side where you can pay, but you don't have to pay just to be there and to see most of the stuff. Anyways, we're going to try to do that this afternoon. I'll do a live stream over there. But like I said, if the internet's not paying attention and not helping out and not doing its job, then maybe we won't. Mostly I'm saying that because there's been a lot of people complaining about internet yesterday. It wasn't just me. I'd get online and check, and there was different people saying that they're having problems, that they can't hardly get online. They have slow internet. They have no internet. It was reported multiple widespread outages yesterday of internet. I have not seen or heard of any reasons why that happened. But we do know that over the past week, there has been a lot of cyber attacks on the United States and other countries. In fact, it was just a few days before the cyber attack started happening. One of the cybersecurity experts here in the United States with the government had issued a warning saying that they had reason to believe that we had some major cyber attacks coming and people needed to brace themselves for that. And then sure enough, within a few days, there was widespread cyber attacks. Just before the 24 hours or so before the cyber attacks happened, a hacker group out of Russia made a big statement claiming that they were going to shut down all the banking systems. Now, we haven't seen that happen yet, but it could happen. And we have seen a lot of cyber internet problems all over the world, government buildings, websites, private companies, nonprofits, everyone. It's all over the place. This is something we've been warning about for a while, and it wasn't that long ago, a few days back, a week or so, I was showing you videos of how Klaus Schwab has been warning about it for quite a while over at the World Economic Forum. And they're warning about it almost like they warned about the next pandemic, and then it happened. Like, we know this is going to happen because we're orchestrating it. So, that kind of thing. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, YouTube. It's just, it's just called freedom of speech. And no one, believes anything the crazy old bearded hillbilly guy says. So that's been going on, and it's interesting when these kind of things happen that are actually very, very, very serious, like really important. You know, the amount of cyber attacks that we're hearing happen. I mean, that should be like wall-to-wall nationwide news, and it's not. Most people aren't even paying attention to it. You know, the news, it was like a hiccup in the news that, oh, there's, you know, global cyber attacks happening, and then that's it. Well, yesterday mostly it started, and I know we're going to go off into conspiracy theory la land here in a second, but it's possible there's something to it, and there's possible it's all connected. The internet started posting, not like the internet's a bean. People on the internet started posting pictures and videos all over the United States of what appears to be a pretty large mobilization of military troops. They could be National Guard, they could be, you know, regular Army Reserve. I don't. It's hard to tell because most of the videos you can't, you know, really tell any kind of insignia or anything like that. But what's interesting, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, you know, it's the weekend and you've got all these National Guards in different places doing their weekend warrior thing. And yes, I get that. I mean, you know, I understand it. You often see, you know, caravans of military vehicles driving places because they're either moving equipment, or maybe they're going off on some kind of, you know, training or whatever. But these were a little bit different. There's one that's in Pennsylvania, and it's right in downtown of one of the big cities there. And they're driving these armored vehicles in the tight little, you know, between the skyscrapers and all that. That's a little unusual. And there's one over in Utah, and it's one of the major interstates in Utah. And they're armored field artillery, tracked artillery. They look like tanks, but they're tracked artillery. And they're not being flatbedded, you know, on big flatbeds, which is what they would do to move them. You know, if they needed to move a tank or these tracked artillery, they would put them on flatbeds and they would drive them. And the reason is for, well, many. Number one, those things have horrible, horrible, horrible fuel mileage. It's horrible. I mean, it's like dumping buckets and buckets in there just to get them to go a few miles. So it would be really silly to be driving them. They tear up the road. It's hard on the vehicle itself, you know, just to be driving miles and miles. It makes no sense. And they're literally going down an interstate, like they're training for something, not just moving, but they're training for something. There's Osprey helicopters landing in suburban neighborhoods in California. Just all over the place. San Diego, several places, Bakersfield, California, some up in Des Moines, Iowa, there was a bunch. It's all over. South Carolina. Someone, and I could not confirm this, but someone said that they had tracked about 15 different states that were having this. As best as I could find about 8 or 10 places that there were videos in the last 24 to 48 hours of troop movements. Now, does that mean anything? I know that the internet likes to just explode over things that may not exist. So I want to be very careful in saying that I am not making any kind of statement that, you know, something really bad is about to happen. We don't really know what all these are about, and they could all be easily explained, albeit some of these are quite unusual. Like they're out of the norm. There were some people on Twitter claiming that they were in the military and that they were being told that this was a type of preparedness drill that was going on, that they weren't told why, what the purpose of it was, but that they were told that they were doing a national preparedness drill. It's also being done in Canada. Canada seems to be a little bit more open about it. There's some of the local officials in Canada have made local announcements stating that there is a nationwide preparedness drill going on in Canada, because there's also some videos and stuff going on in Canada. So it does appear that there's a pretty good likelihood that there's a bunch of preparedness drills going on, but they do just seem a little bit unusual. And so I think a lot of people are kind of wondering, is this have anything to do with potentially going to war soon? You know, or does the military or does the government know something that we don't? Well, the obvious answer is yes, they do. But it does appear that this is happening, that they're training for something that seems to be a little bit more imminent. And that they're training what appears to be in American city streets. Like they think that the fight could come here, maybe. I don't know. There's also speculation that between the widespread cyber attacks, that could amplify, and maybe it could cause major shutdowns in certain areas of society, so they could potentially need military in the streets for some kind of martial law. Maybe they're expecting an EMP attack. These are all things that we have talked about recently. And now we're seeing, at least in several places, maybe not everywhere, but several places, we're seeing troop movements move around. I know the one in California, there was one official statement on that. I'll get this out because I'm sure someone will mention it. There were several Ospreys. You know, those are those like half helicopter, half airplanes, you know. And they were the ones that were landing in a suburban area or just outside of that. I mean, it wasn't a military base. The FAA issued a statement that that area had been a temporary, what do they call it, temporary no-fly zone, because there was some VIPs, and that's what those were for. I've seen lots. I mean, I've actually been involved in VIP stuff where you're dealing with government officials and stuff, protective security, and I've never seen them use Ospreys. I've never seen that before and land them in the. I mean, that's weird, you know. I mean, I could see them bringing in maybe even Blackhawks, but Ospreys, that was just strange. But anyways. So at least there was some acknowledgement from a government agency that was happening. We don't really know what's going on. They like to keep us in the dark. But it does appear that there are things happening. It does appear, like we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, that things are heating up actually pretty rapidly on the Asian front, the Pacific front. And then things look like they're getting really, really bad over with Russia and Ukraine. And so all that happening, and then now this, I think that we should be we should be looking at it pretty seriously, I think. I'm not saying that we should kind of just, you know, throw caution to the wind and relinquish all of our normal responsibilities and duties. You know, don't pay your house payment, stop abiding by laws because, you know, the doo-doo has finally hit the fan. I think that we should be very much more alert and preparing ourselves mentally. You know, I mentioned something to my wife yesterday evening about this. She's like, we've been prepping for this kind of stuff for years. I said, yes, but there's a difference between just like getting ready and saying, oh, someday it's going to happen, so let's get ready for it, and knowing that it is imminent so that you're really like getting yourself really ready for it. We could be getting close to that. Making sure things are just topped off. You know, if it was some kind of EMP or cyber attack, it could most definitely affect just services and electricity. So is your fuel containers topped off, water containers topped off? Those are temporary fixes. But at least in that initial panic, if something like that were to happen, in that initial panic, if you have all the good stuff that you can, it helps you get through that panic stage and into that, well, this is reality stage. So make sure things are topped off. Food, stuff like that. I personally wouldn't be going a whole lot of places. You know, you wouldn't want to go off on, you know, hours away vacation right now, and then maybe something happens and you can't make it back. That's just my personal opinion. Just kind of being ready, right? You know, you're making yourself ready. You know that there's a good chance that you could have to deal with this kind of nightmarish scenario soon. So just get ready. I don't think people should be panicking, like I said, and just losing all functions. But it does appear that some things are kind of strange. Now, we've gone through in the past things similar to this, that things just appear like they're imminent, and then they don't happen. But this one does look pretty likely, or at least somewhat likely, that something's going on when you start putting the pieces, the cyber attack, the DHS's, grid attack or EMP warnings and stuff, and then now this mobilization of lots of troops, along with the heated relationships between us and China and Russia and all that kind of stuff. So, just be getting yourselves ready for it, which is something we should be doing every day, but kind of intensifying that right now probably wouldn't hurt. Remember, locals.com, just go to the description below. There's a description below. You can click on a link and you can go over there and sign up. Like I said, you don't have to pay to be there. You only have to pay a small monthly fee to get all the extra stuff. But you can go there and we'll do our very best to do a live stream this afternoon, probably around 4 o'clock Central Time. It's time to get your houses in order, folks. You need to be preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.